Welcome to day one of this COVID-19 code review. If you missed the last video, I'm basically going to use this time where I'm socially distancing myself to look through some of my old code in an app that I wrote when I was first learning to code, and now with a few years experience, look back and kind of see what things I can improve. Each day that I am socially distanced here inside my house, I'm going to make a small update, make a video about it, hopefully learn a bit myself and help others learn along the way too. So, it might make some minor updates, but the longer we're quarantined, the longer this is going to be, and the cooler the app will get. I say quarantine. I'm not actually sick. Somebody corrected me the other day that it was, if quarantine is actually for sick people, if you're actually quarantined. But point is, I'm stuck at home. I'm gonna do some code stuff. And yeah, I'm gonna feel free to watch here. So I did an overview of kind of the app and what it is in the last video, so feel free to check that out. But what I'm going to do today is start digging into the code and making updates. Today specifically, I'm going to be digging into how the strings are formed. So you can see this is the app here, the Minesweeper app, and we're going to hop into the code. There we go. Let's take a look at the JavaScript. There we are. All right, so one thing I pointed out in the last video yesterday was that there's a lot of times where we're trying to make strings where we're doing a lot of this, where it's basically you say, hey, take a string and then add a variable and then add another string and then add another variable. And this is all being added together to make a single string to put into upleft. And it's kind of tedious because it looks messy. It's not as easy to read, and it's hard to tell exactly what the end result is going to look like. There's even one spot here where it gets kind of extra messy. I don't know where it is, but there's oh, here it is. So you can see here, and this got broken up into several lines because it got too long, and now it's like you have a single string that's being broken up, and it's not pretty. And there are better ways to do this in JavaScript, and I'm going to fix that up. It's kind of, when I look over this code, that's kind of the first thing that I want to do in cleaning this up. So I'm going to show you quick examples here of what I'm about to do. What we're basically doing is taking these string concatenations like here, and we are going to use template literals instead. So I'm going to show you what I mean here in the browser. So I'm going to open DevTools here, which you can get from the menu to more tools and developer tools. I typically just open the console with Command Option J, which I believe is Command Control J or Alt Control J. It's typically in Windows. But it's typically easiest to use a keyboard shortcut because you usually pop this open often. And DevTools is a good way to kind of experiment with some JavaScript, do some quick experiments in the browser. So let's say we want to make a message here, and that message is going to have some variables. So we're going to have a const of name equals Zach, and it is auto-completing because you can see I have run through this example before. Then we're going to also say let status equals socially distance. That's right. Thank you for the suggestion, Chrome. Distanced. And we're going to say let rolls of toilet paper equals 2. Perfect. Now let's say that I want to make a message from this, a variable message, and this is kind of the end state of what I want it to be. So we're going to say let message equals hi, my name is Zach. I am socially distanced. I have 2 rolls of toilet paper left. Cool, so that is a static hard-coded string. All this text here is going to be the same no matter what. And what we want to do is get these variables into the string so it'll update if any of these variables update. So what we could do, and what I have done in the code as you saw, is we can come in here and we can separate the strings. We can basically cut up the strings and add in the variables. So instead of saying Zach here, we can say my name is, an end of that string, and then we're going to add a name. And then add another string. I am, and then we want to make this the status variable here. So I am status, and then we erase the hard-coded value there, plus another string. So what you can see what we're doing here is we're saying, hey, we have a string, and then we're going to add on whatever this string is, and then we got more string, and then we're going to add on whatever this string is stored in this variable, and add more strings on. So we'll do the last one here for rolls of toilet paper. I have rolls of toilet paper. Don't need that 2 there anymore, plus. There we go. So you can see here, we hit enter. If we write message, we can see it's showing what we want. Hi, my name is Zach. I'm socially distanced. I have 2 rolls of toilet paper left. But this is just kind of messy. It's hard to read. What if there was an easier way that we could insert them in without cutting up the string and having this choppy flow? And luckily there is. So I'm actually going to hop back up. I'm going to use the up arrow key to go to my previous command. And JavaScript has a thing called template literals. And I'll show you what it is here. Basically, I'm just gonna get into it, and then I'll explain it after, because I think it'll be kind of evident from starting out what is going on here. So we have the quotes. We are going to replace these quotes with a backtick. The backtick is the key that isn't used a lot. You might not be familiar with it. It's in the top left of your keyboard, probably to the left of the 1 key next to the tilde. Kind of looks like an apostrophe, except it's like, little mirror universe apostrophe. And that's the same thing as using quotes. And I just undid my changes. Okay, so it's the same thing. So right now it's still the same. It's just using a different symbol. Whether you use a backtick, a single quote, or double quotes on either side, JavaScript treats that all as a string. But what's special with the backticks is you can, that's a template literal, which means you can use variables inside your string. So for example, we say, hi, my name is Zach. Instead of saying Zach, we use a $sign and then curly brackets. And what that will do is we can put our variable in it. So we say, hi, my name is name. And let's just run with that right now. And we say, let's log that out. Hi, my name is Zach. I'm socially distanced. Cool. So we have the variable just put in there dynamically. We can do that with the rest of the items too. So socially distanced, let's replace that with status. Cool. And this number, we will replace that with rolls of toilet paper. Perfect. And we'll log out message again. I have 2 rolls of toilet paper. Maybe my rolls of toilet paper goes down. We're going to say rolls of toilet paper equals 1. We can log the message again. It still says I have 2 rolls of toilet paper. Oh, because I didn't reassign it. So we can reassign to the message. And if we log the message out again, you can see that it's updated to say I have 1 rolls of toilet paper left. Very cool. So that's kind of what we want to do in our code here. If we hop back, and actually before I make these changes, there are going to be some pretty big changes, so I'm actually going to make a new branch here. We're currently on the master branch, and I'm going to make a new branch in Git so we can have kind of a separate flow. I'll do that with Git checkout B, and that will create a new branch and then check it out, so we will be working on it. Let's just call it COVID JavaScript refactor. Just kind of a broad description of what we're going to be working on in this branch. Cool. So we're switched to that branch. We are on it. We can see in VS Code here that we are on that branch, and let's get to work. So, how are we going to find all of these things? Well, we know that when we have this sort of pattern with the string and then plus, that it's going to be the closing quote with the plus. And by the way, I use single quotes in a lot of my strings in my code. I prefer single quotes. It's a preference. Some people use double quotes. That's fine. I find it most useful. I probably did it here especially because if you use single quotes, then it won't overdo the double quotes. For instance, if I tried to do double quote for this string, the code would be a little confused because there's a double quote in the middle, so it looks like it's 2 strings, and that's not what we want. So anyways, point being, I use single quotes. Use what you want. But how do we find all of these concatenated strings? Well, we can see here that this is kind of what we're looking for. This is the pattern. So I'm going to Command F or Control F if you're in Windows, and I'm going to search for apostrophe space plus. And when I do that, you can see there are 26 matches. So we can basically go through these and use it to find all of the strings we want to fix. And this is going to be super exciting. So if you stick with me, I love you forever. So here we go. We have, let's make sure we start with number 1 up here. All right, number 1, and this is the ugly one that I was talking about. It's multiple lines. Let's take this out. What am I doing here? R. Yes. So that's going to be, we want this to just go right up to the X. And we can take out that. There we go. Good start, good start. And actually, let's get this all on one line first, because that will make it so much easier. I'm going to join these lines. There we go. That makes it a little clearer than trying to figure out how they're separated between different lines. Okay, so we have one variable left here that we just need to add to the template literal. So instead of ending the string here and adding y, I'm going to do a $, opening bracket, and closing curly bracket. And delete till that. And we're good. And you'll notice here that our syntax highlighting isn't catching the variables. It's not looking different because we still have the single quote around here. We need to change these to backticks. And now we have a template literal. Good stuff. Now we can look up in our search, and we have 24 instances left. This will be great. Here we go. All right, finding number 1. The next one is going to be here. Let's take this one out. $, curly brackets, closing curly bracket. And you know, when you're quarantined for a long time and you're stuck inside, just doing this sort of curly bracket insertion is the most fun. I recommend it. It is one of my favorite things to do in my free time, and I don't think enough people do it. So insert those curly brackets in template literals. You'll have a great time. And pay attention too, because if you don't, you might forget to put in the backticks. There we go. All right, that is saved, and down to 22. Next one, mines. $, opening curly bracket, closing curly bracket, backtick, backtick. And actually, this is a console log, which I don't want console logs in my final code. Silly Zach of 2 years ago decided it was a good idea to leave that in there. But ultimately in production code, you usually don't want to put console logs. It's kind of a developer tool to put in your work in progress. But that's for another video. We'll probably take that out later. 21 left. Here we go, 21. Okay, here is a big one. Lots of kind of redundant uses, and I don't want to go through each one and individually insert the curly brackets and change to a template literal. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use VS Code's curly bracket feature, or not curly bracket, multiple cursor feature, which I don't do too often, but I should really take advantage of because I see people using it a lot, and it's a great way to do some bulk activities fast. But I'm going to click here and try to find other rows where I'm going to be making similar changes, basically where there's a plus and then parentheses and then a calculation. So that's happening here. I'm going to Option or Alt click there. Not here. There's not a parentheses, but it's happening here and here and here. Perfect. So now I can highlight that, do $, opening curly bracket, move over to the end of that, closing curly bracket. Let's get the backtick there at the start. And we won't need the plus. Oh, actually, well, that got a little messy. No, it's still going good. Okay, so then if we say, yes, plus, space, parentheses. I'm just looking at each one, trying to verify that I am editing the same thing. And if it looks confusing to you now on the camera, it's also looking confusing to me. There's a lot of things highlighted, including things that I'm not changing. So I have not yet mastered the multi-cursor thing to make it easy, super easy, but that's to help out a little bit. Okay, now everything just looks a little messy, and I'm just going to use the single cursor to clean this up a bit. And I'm going to use the magic of time travel to fix this, because nobody wants to watch me go through each one of these. If you have a better way, please do leave a comment of how I could have done this better. There might be a regex way or some better way of doing multi-cursor, but right now, I'm just going to do this manually. All right, we have gone to the future now, and we are back. I have manually entered in all of these template literals. Doesn't that look cleaner? I think it does. And one thing I also wanted to mention is you'll see these squiggly blue lines here. That is because I have a code spell checker installed in VS Code that checks variable names and sees if there's any typos, which I found incredibly helpful. So you can see here, if we hover over this, up left, unknown word. That kind of has to do with how my variable is named. The spell checker can't tell the difference. If I were to capitalize this L, which is how I would make it now, it says, yeah, I know the word up, I know the word left. But as it is not recognizing the word. So you can ignore these blue squigglies for now. I'll probably update that in a later video of changing variable names. But now, we're on with our template literal mission. All right, here we go. So let's see here. 5 left. We are so close. This is so exciting. Next one, this is a shorter one here. Should be easy. I'm going to start on this one by putting backticks. And then adding $, curly bracket, curly bracket. I bet there's some automated tool out there that will automatically replace all of your template literals. And I should have researched that before this video. It's too late now. We're in it. But we're almost there. You may hear my cat meowing. It's because I just got up and moved around. And now she wants to know what the hell I'm doing. She was perfectly satisfied. She was just laying in her bed, totally happy, content with the world. And then I walk past her bed and she's like, hey, what are you doing? What's going on? I'm unhappy. I'm an old lady. So, you know what? Sorry about this. I'm gonna wait a second. Let's just wait. We're gonna scratch on the scratching post. You done? You done meowing? All right. I think she's done. So now, oh yeah, screw you too. Okay, so a few left, 3 left. I'll let you just listen to my cat meow as I finish this off. Now she's gonna prove me wrong. The cats are assholes. I'm just, we're all thinking it. All right, I guess she's happy now. So, $, curly bracket, $, curly bracket. I think I got them all. Yeah, you missed your cue. You missed it. Okay, and final one here. And once again, I'm going to join the lines. On Mac, I'm doing Control-J. I don't think there is a shortcut for this on Windows, but you can do a search of the commands with Control-Shift-P, or sorry, Control-Shift-P. There we go. And if you look for, say, join lines, you can hit that manually or enter a manual keyboard shortcut. But I joined the lines, put it all in one line, make it easier to see. Let's put this in a $, curly bracket, $, curly bracket, backticks. Okay, we did it, everybody. Now, if we, I'm excited too. Now, if we look, we have no more results. And we are all good to go. So, let's take a look at the diff. I'm going to use a get tool in VS Code to kind of look at what has changed. And I'm going to post the diff of this in the comments, a link to the GitHub diff, so you can see. But you can see it's a little bit cleaner. It's a little bit easier to see what's going on, rather than having all this string plus variable plus string plus variable. We just got it all in one space. It's easy to see what's going on here, what the full string is, and how the variables are being inserted. So that will make it nice and clean. Let's hop back over to our actual app. And this is actually the actual website here. I'm actually going to want to open the files. So I'm going to open the index.html file from the repository we were editing, test it out, make sure things are still working, the strings look normal. And this isn't a full test. We'll put in some automated tests later, depending on how long this quarantine lasts. But everything looks like it's still working, so we should be good to go and commit the code. So I'm going to wrap up this video. I'll commit it and post the commit in the links below. So definitely let me know if you have any feedback on this or things you'd like to see. If you are, whether you're new or you are a veteran coder and you want to nitpick, that's what this series is all about. So feel free to nitpick away at my code and talk about what I could do differently or better. And yeah, definitely wash your hands, don't hoard toilet paper, stay safe, socially distance yourself, and hopefully we are all gonna do well. Follow me on Twitter, Zach Lawton. COVID Days of Code is something I'm doing. Hashtag COVID Days of Code, kind of documenting the code I'm working on here. And go ahead and be a part of the discussion. And that is all with my awkward conclusion. Thank you for your time.